Thank you for joining me for part 2, where we are discussing the Great Delusion. We just left off in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, where Paul was telling us about the man of lawlessness being revealed, and that God would send a great delusion so that those who do not love the truth would believe the lie. Now, God is not the liar. No lie comes from God. He cannot lie. But he can send a delusion or allow a delusion or allow Satan to come and cause deception. He allows that. And it's in order for us to be tested. And it happens throughout the scripture with Job. It happened with David when he numbered Israel, and so on and so forth. But now we're going to pick up in Revelation chapter 13, where we're going to read about a little bit more about this delusion. So, starting in verse 11 through verses 18, we read, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon." So this is the false prophet. "He exercises all authority of the first beast," meaning the Antichrist, "in his presence, and he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast who had the fatal wound and was healed." So right there we see that the Antichrist, or the man of lawlessness, he was killed. He was mortally wounded. He was dead. But he's going to be healed from that mortal wound. He's going to appear to have been resurrected back to life. That will be very convincing. People will think this is the actual Messiah fulfilling prophecy in the prophets. "He performs great signs," meaning the false prophet. "He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men." Okay, this is huge because people are expecting Elijah the prophet to come before the great and terrible day of the Lord. And Elijah the prophet actually did call down fire from heaven. So this would be very convincing. People will probably think this is Elijah, because he is making fire come down out of heaven in the presence of men. Wow. Okay, and he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given him to perform in the presence of the beast. Right there we see that his power is given to him. Remember, God sent the delusion. He allows it. He sends a deluding influence. Well, this would be it. There are signs and wonders. And before we go on, I want you to remember back to the Deuteronomy passage in the last video, where Yahweh specifically told us if someone comes, a prophet comes, and he's doing signs and wonders, and the signs and wonders are coming true, or if there's a dreamer of dreams and the dreams come true, it doesn't really matter if they say, let's follow other gods who you haven't known, or the God who you haven't known, because Yahweh, your God, is testing you. You better not listen to them. It's a test. He tells us ahead of time. He says, I'm testing you to see if you love me with all of your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength, your mind, everything. So, here we see someone doing exactly what Yahweh told us about back in Deuteronomy. So, the false prophet, "And he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given him to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who had the wound of the sword and has come to life. And it was given to him," meaning the false prophet, "to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast would even speak." So here's this image of the beast, and now it's talking, and this false prophet is making it do it. That's really, wow. And remember also that Elijah raised someone from the dead. And so now here you have someone coming back from the dead. The man of lawlessness, the Antichrist, the beast, that first beast coming back to life. Also linked here with someone who appears to be Elijah-like. Very interesting. So he causes as many as do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So again, this is the false prophet doing all this. "And he causes all, the small and the great, and the rich and the poor, and the free men and the slaves, to be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. And he provides that no one will be able to buy or to sell except the one who has the mark, which is either the name of the beast or the number of his name." Now, here is the wisdom. or here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast. For the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. And for today, I really want to just focus on this false prophet here. Remember, the false prophet is the one who calls down fire from heaven. The reason I'm pointing this out is because I recently watched a pre-trib, post-trib debate, and the pre-trib was saying that the two witnesses were the ones who called down fire from heaven. And I was watching it with a friend, and I said, that's not true. And my friend said, oh, yeah, it is. They have fire that they called down from heaven to kill people who hurt them. I was like, no. That's not what it says at all. It's the false prophet who calls down fire from heaven. This is an important distinction, because now we're going to look and see the description of the two witnesses, the real witnesses. So let's go there now. Revelation chapter 11. And we read from verses 3 through 7. And I will grant authority to my two witnesses. There's going to be two, not one. There will be two. And they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. So they're dressed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. And if anyone wants to harm them, now here's where we're going to see the fire. Fire flows out of their mouth and devours their enemies. So remember, the false prophet had fire coming from heaven, but the two witnesses have fire flowing out of their mouth. Very important who you're going to listen to if you're around here and you're actually seeing this during the last days. I hope I'm not seeing this part, but some people will. So if anyone wants to harm them, he must be killed in this way. These have the power to shut up the sky, so that rain will not fall during the days of their prophesying. Okay, this is also very reminiscent of Elijah, because Elijah did this for, I believe, 3.5 years during the time he was giving his testimony. So, again, we see an Elijah-like sign. And they have power over the waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every plague as often as they desire. That's very reminiscent of Moses and Aaron. Now, this is one of the reasons that people believe that the two witnesses will be Elijah and Moses. Personally, I believe it's Enoch and Elijah, but I'm not going to argue it because we don't know, and we won't know until it happens. But the point is, these powers come from Yahweh. All the powers from Elijah that Elijah had and that Moses had, these two witnesses had, these are just simply powers from Yahweh. It's Yahweh who's doing it through them. So, when they have finished their testimony, the beast that comes up out of the abyss will make war with them and overcome them and kill them. So, the really important thing that I want you to notice today is there's a delusion. Yahweh sends the delusion. He says that he sends it because he wants to make manifest that the people who really believe him versus the people who don't love the truth. They don't believe him. They don't believe his words. Yahweh has said, I'm going to send this delusion, and he tells us that the false prophet's going to call down fire from heaven. He tells us that the two witnesses will have fire coming out of their mouth. That's a very, very important distinction. Should you be here and need to listen to any of these people or see any of these things come to pass. And here's a picture of what the two witnesses would look like. They have fire coming out of their mouth, versus the false prophet would be calling down fire from heaven. So hopefully that picture, will stay in your head there. This is what the false prophet would do, destroy the earth, versus what the two witnesses will look like. Okay. I believe that there's more as far as the Great Delusion. There are some scriptures, other scriptures I see that I put together from Daniel and from Revelation to what I think the Great Delusion will be, but these are the things we know for sure we're to look for if we're not hidden away during that time, and hopefully you will be. But thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this helps clear up some things about the Great Delusion for you. Thank you for joining me. Yeshua bless.